is don't ever try to say quick and brief at the same time. It does not come out well. But let's see who comes out looking good here on Haven. It's 1-1. It's a best of 5, so this is not the decider, but this will give whichever team wins it 2 opportunities to close the series out and move on to face Ascend in the grand final. This is a huge opportunity. A lot of cash on the line as well for these teams. Navova, he's going to start off the pistol round in a pretty poor fashion, getting sideswiped by Yassine.
Of course, the magic of Yassine already finding his first kill, and we know that when this guy gets rolling, he is very difficult to stop. If you weren't here for map 1, that is exactly what happened. The Yassine show, not with showstoppers, but with everything else. Like, he got killed with every single piece of utility, even a blast pack kill, which is not something you're going to be seeing too often. But a good start into the pistol. Now, Nuki in their previous match, and we saw the dominant victory yesterday, was again just having an absolute worldie of a performance. I thought for a second he was going to get away with 2, Mitch, but it is just going to be 1. Now, Yassine almost looks as this as a clean way into the site, and because of his paint shell, he's denied their rotation.
They've also managed to get a player underneath Heaven, even before the flash went down. Good control here on the crossfires, but on their way back, the bait is there for Mixwell to spam away. Yassine doesn't manage to take him down, but they now have that information to play with. The other guy coming down through long, if Kellogg's has been hurt, this is it on complete lockdown for Guild. A really tough one for them to lose, and G2 have virtually no way back in. The time is going to be a major factor. And with Mixwell all alone, it won't even get to the end of the clock. It's 1-0 for Guild, picking up the pistol here on Haven.
If he had got that kill after just like landing there, that would have been one of the sexiest kills I think we've ever seen. But it didn't quite work out. Not going to be happening today.
Last player standing.
You know what? Good start for Guild. As it was sort of said, I think that this is a team especially that are very good at sort of coping with a lot of map control. I think, again, you have to look at someone like Safe, and the way that he lurks on this map, I think, is one of the most enjoyable things to watch. If we get to a point of, like, POV demos, if I can somehow steal that away from him, that's what I want to be watching, because somehow he always just seems to be in the right place at the right time.
Take flight.
Honestly, I said it back in the day when we first started looking at Yassine, and I'll say it again, presuming these pistols just get overrun, which they do. Oh my god. What? Well, that was nice timing. He's just collided someone. 2 kills in the space of a second with 1 shot from the Sheriff. Things become a little bit dicey for Guild. Mixwell still looking for another victim from up above. Looking for the head peek angle with just 44 HP. And look, it's Safe is quite low. Yassine has no shields left either. Or 21 shields, actually. He's gotten away with a little bit. There we go.
Last player standing.
This has become quite awkward now. A very costly round, to say the least. Now, of course, you might be looking at that Marshal and thinking, hey, is Kellogg's overspent in this round? But it's only a little bit more expensive than the Sheriff now. The changes have made this gun far more viable, but the connection isn't going to be there this time. Still a hugely successful round, but basically came down to just Mixwell doing damage, making things incredibly costly for Guild on the repurchase here. And now the question will be is, do they still play this as a bonus round, or are they just going to fully invest and try and almost play for the win?
I do have to wonder, you know, from Guild's perspective, having lost that many weapons, that must really hurt to a collat Sheriff shot. But I feel like Guild as a team are really good at shaking those things off. They don't weigh themselves down too much, especially Yassine, like having that guy on your team, not just for his success in general, but also just for the fact that what's happening here? Why is Kellogg's all the way down middle? Now they're pushing out double doors. At G2, they're playing up against a bonus round, and I'm not sure if they know that, Tom, because they've just pushed double doors mid and A short.
Yeah, looking like they almost wanted to just try and dominate the map control, and instead they've ended up giving away not only a kill, but a weapon to save. He's going to be playing with that rifle. Now they're looking to pressure. Kellogg's is in with a quick rotation. That kill makes a big difference, but he peeks into the blender, leaving Mixwell to try and do it all. But that's exactly what he does. 2 kills to bring this into an even scenario. But as said, this is now weaponry available. Now the main man I'm watching here is going to be Nuki. Now this is all bait from Avova. He's trying to buy as much time as humanly possible as his teammate slowly makes the rotation through short.
But looks like Guild are thinking about pushing him down. They grouped up for a second and held the angle, but now they'll fall back and play under heaven. This gives a good opportunity to G2. Oh, Nukia timed out by Draken. It's all up to Avova, and now that one kind of falls apart. He's going to swing into a crossfire, and there was just no way to make that work. 3-0 for Guild. A bonus round, having lost so many weapons to start with up against the Pistols. Then they come in here, and they get away with still winning the round? That's a bit ridiculous. Honestly, in that 2v2, I was already set to say that Guild basically won, even if they lost the round. You know, they got the financial victory, but now this is just an insanely good start.
Yeah, especially with how costly their initial bonus round was. Like, the second round should have been a lot cleaner. The damage done by Mixwell, who I think currently has a ridiculous ACS with just how many kills he's been getting over the last couple, especially on that Killjoy, which is something we haven't talked about too much. Now, Kellogg's, we were ranting and raving about his aggression in the previous map. Thus far, he's been punished in almost every single round.
Yeah, I'm a fan of a team like G2 playing aggressive. I've got no issue with that. And I think a lot of the time when you look at Guild's old play, they would often take relatively fast attacks, but they've always had this element, especially when they've got Yassine playing on a raise, of waiting and then blitzing in with like 30 seconds on the clock in set rounds if they sense that you're playing aggro. And right now, for G2, I don't mind it when they have pistols in their hands, and they're doing incredibly well, actually, with that kill from Avova. That's a weapon retrieved in a very winnable round at this point. But it's just curious that in that last buy round, when 3 of them pushed versus a low buy, that's so strange.
Well, for now at least, although it's been costly, Guild's reposition should put this round to bed. The remaining 2 players incredibly far away. It's going to take a long time for any sort of rotation, and I almost wonder if they're just hunting to try and find that second weapon that was dropped. Give Cordamenta something to save, and just bring that through into the next round with a bit of a bolster to the economy. Of course, with, again, how many bodies they've been dropping over the last few rounds, the damage would be worthwhile, and especially when you look at Cordamenta, if he's the one to go down, it really isn't that much of a loss.
Yeah, for sure. But, okay, the flash is out. Oh, Avova gets blinded. Here's the paranoia note, though. They can swing on this easily. Managed to reposition over into the corner. Bonker now under pressure, gets taken down. It's into a 1v1. The spike going to be tapped just to keep him around. Leo has to swing on it to check that he's not defusing, and that will be at least a kill onto him. Him taken down, weapon dropped. And financially, a victory for G2. They did incredibly well here, but they are 4-0 behind.
Yeah, it gets to a point where you now have to win a round to actually make this all worthwhile. I don't, although Guild are definitely going to have enough money to rebuy into this next one, it puts them in a spot where the likelihood is we can see them reset fairly easily, because as I said, there's been multiple kills coming through in every single round that G2 have actually played. But if you never convert any of these rounds, Guild aren't going to care. And it's not like they're a team that we're sat there going, oh yeah, they have a really weak defensive side of this map. In fact, that's as far away from the truth as I think it can be.
With this showstopper pop from Yassine, he will again fall before a single, not even a kill. I don't think he shot a showstopper. I'm pretty sure. Oh, he got it once, sorry.
He got a kill once.
One time he shot it, and 5 times he has popped that showstopper and been instantly killed. This is ridiculous. For an otherwise good series for him, I don't know how the showstopper is just, it ain't working.
It's cursed. It is cursed. And the thing is, even if he just shot it into the wall there, it would have actually got him a kill, because Avova was stood right next to him. Oh, that was almost attempted to be a bait. Try and get the peak to come out from Draken, but instead he wins the duel, and he's actually going to take the second player down as well. Big brain stuff with Leo just running in and taking out Mixwell. This was a 3-on-5 just seconds ago, but a couple of huge plays coming out from Guild, and he's even got the paranoia. What? Okay.
I guess he caught a glimpse of him just before. That's Nukia out of there with the operator. He won't be going for it even in spite of those kills, but at least he'll get something to bring home. You said, Tom, that, you know, G2 needed to pick up that round to really reap the rewards. Well, they haven't managed it. At least they're getting some kills, so it's not like Guild are rocking up with like max money or anything like that. But 5-0, the time to show up is. I mean,
I love watching your scenes, Cam. You're just clapping the team, like building everyone up. Like you could see it, even when the man's not alive. He's just making sure that everybody is in a positive mindset, especially with how well they're doing so far. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, like, I think you really need to put your foot down now. With that operator saved, I'm wondering if they're actually gonna go for a heavier investment. We'll see that in a second. And no, with those kind of credits. Forced by up here would be a bit ludicrous. They've at least got a lockdown, but I doubt they use that here unless they get some openings. But yeah, you seen him saying that in the interview, right? Like when he doesn't have his days, and that was always my thing. It's like, well, if you play off your chi or whatever, what if it doesn't work? Are you just going to be a terrible player when you have bad chi? But the thing, or like, which, you know, most people call bad RNG, but whatever. For him, oh no! How is Kellogg's done that? He's got 2, but they still end up losing long control. They actually come out behind in that, despite a huge play by Kellogg's. Now they've got to fight back into this one. And over on that defensive side, you know, they still haven't got that much. That operator actually playing towards double doors won't get an opportunity to stop this push. If Guild do commit to the A side, it's going to have to be the Sheriffs.
They've still got a lot that they can commit. A single kill for Nuki, and that's a res. We already know that they have the lockdown in play, ready for Mixwell, and I think they're going to be more than willing to invest it if they can turn this into a round victory. They've made the last few, again, incredibly costly. The credit's still not off the charts for Guild, but more importantly, they just need a damn round. Now, they're going to bait the plant. I like this from Bonker. Maybe trying to check for any players close, but also see if you can actually get that lockdown in a little bit earlier than they'd like. They put Draken into a deep position just to make sure nobody can escape. And you also have to look at the ults. And that's exactly what I was going to say. Hunter's Fury, see you later. It's not getting you into the site.
Yeah, they try to push down while he hasn't got his gun out, but now there's a crossfire set up, and, well, that was the wrong choice. The Rolling Thunder even committed in the end. And honestly, for G2, they get 3 kills. They use a lockdown on a Blade Storm. Fine. They managed to bait out Rolling Thunder and Hunter's Fury. Overall, that's a pretty positive outcome for the G2 side. Again, problem will be,
it gets to the point though.
Yeah, if you're losing all the rounds, then, well, it's no use saying, oh, they haven't got any money though, but they're still winning the rounds.
Yeah, I think that Guild could sit there at 13-0 and go, wow, we were a little bit poor throughout that game. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, G2 haven't had the impact to actually close any of them out. And again, in the positions that they had in this round, eventually you have to feel like one of these rounds needs to go their way. Bladestorm, it's not as cheap as it used to be. Sure, it had impact. It got 2 kills, but the lockdown, again, didn't really achieve anything other than just trying to hunt down that one man. They've made him close once more, but Guild are going to be more than happy here. Yeah, the finances are not amazing, but they're still enough to actually get a repurchase into the next round anyway. And until G2 actually get around on the board, I'm sure everybody in the Guild camp is still going to be smiling at this result.
Yeah, G2 have got their foot in the door is the way I'd put it, right? They have the potential to open it up and walk on in, but by the time they get there, the party might be over. And at the moment, well, it's starting to wind down already. With a 6-0 lead, Guild are looking fantastic, and we've seen a very different approach from them in a couple of these rounds. We've seen the very slow defaults in holding down control all across the map, waiting for G2's aggression and punishing it. And then just in the previous round, when G2 tried to push down on A long and gain a bit of map control, Guild are moving as a 5-man pack and taking those duels together, trading out the 2 openings that their opposition had found. Like, at this point, it's not as easy to counter as you would like, and Avovo tries to go and get some information, peek down through C. Instead, he is now being pressured heavily and taken down by... by Draken, but Coldamenta, he's here early. He's able... No, well, never mind.
Peeks into the full firing squad. Nuki with the fadeaway actually ends up getting it through the wall. They've made this one close, but they're going in 1 by 1. It's just not enough, and Draken on the lurk, low on HP, but it's all too easy. I think this might even be one of the first rounds we've actually seen them even go in this direction. And now it's left all onto Kellogg's, and I hate to say it, but this should be a save. Like, this should be keeping that operator through into the next round. The chances of him getting this victory are slim to none unless Guild makes some huge mistakes. But I have to give credit where credit is due. If these are all calls coming through from Bonker, he's doing an incredible job. So far, we have seen a very heavy lean towards the A site. In fact, I think most rounds have either ended before the plant or with a plant on A. So what do? They go straight into the C site this time. They wait for the aggression, because why wouldn't G2 push it? They need to start getting faster flanks. They need to start getting information, and then they have an easy opener. And then as we saw, it was all down to Coldamenta to basically be a hero to stop them getting that site. Guild are calling an excellent game.
They really are, and it's the lack of pressure on one spot. Like, they don't consistently exploit the same weakness in this G2 defense, and because of that, it's very difficult to then figure out what your problems are and to patch those holes. You try to solve for them playing defaults and they rush you. You try to solve for them taking garage control and they're on A. It's like, you can't have one method that fixes this, and now we need to see something extra show up for G2, and right now it seems to be Kellogg's. He's got the opening duel from the Coldamenta, wants to take another fight, and it feels like for G2, yes, it is a very, very spread out map. It's very wide, which means that a lot of the time you're going to have to take individual duels, but that right there was a little bit overeager for my liking.
I like this push, though. This locks down half of the map. And as said, in the majority of rounds, we've seen Guild default back towards an A take. So Kellogg's taking this level of control, likely going to net him a huge amount of success. Already a pick going in his direction. This gives some space as well to them to get the res. This is looking like that first round, but I feel like we've been here before.
Oh, they've even got the information now. 2 players outside of garage at the very minimum, which will keep a little bit of a stack over this side of the map in play. Bonker needs to go big. He's the first one through the gap, and in fact, the only one. The rest of the team shifting their focus to the B side.
No.
But Kellogg's is on a very late flank, and there it is. That's pretty much the round done and dusted. 1 bullet left in his magazine, but there's players absolutely everywhere to assist Kellogg's in taking Draken down. That is the first round on the board for G2. It has taken a while to get here, but they've done it at long last. And Tom, you know, I was almost going to say that you had cursed this team. I was ready to blame you, because I noticed Coldamenta actually put on his bucket hat, and then they started losing quite badly. So I thought your wish was what ruined them, but evidently you can make it work even with the bucket hat on.
Yeah, I still think that the main point of that round was the adaptation by Kellogg's. Like, I think they've started to realize that Guild are more than happy to fall back after taking these initial fights, and then they've enjoyed defaulting back into that A site. So he just takes that control away from them. A risk for an individual, but one that at this stage of the map, they have to start taking. They have to start denying Guild from having whatever control they want, and they've done an excellent job of it. Now, though, we wait and see what Guild are going to decide in response, and from their current position, I almost wonder if they are just going to go, okay, well, we've had our slower rounds, we've had our attempts at garage and C, let's go back to the old faithful.
So it looks like we've got a little bit of a technical issue there, Tom. So a bit of a pause coming through. But I think that realistically, when you're G2, you're going to take a little bit of a breather now. This is the time that you're happy to have a little bit of time to sit there, a few breaths, maybe have some green tea. Who knows?
Well, for what I've heard, on the other side of things, it's safe drinking a ridiculous amount of caffeine. So the man is buzzing a lot of the times with the levels of caffeine coursing through his veins. But you know what? Evidently, it works. Like, I feel like if I was having that much, I'd almost be shaking with the aim. But hey, it works for some. Gives him those lightning fast reactions, and thus far in this map, it seems like pretty much everybody has had their moments on Guild. Again, you go back to what you said earlier, but like we always highlight Leo as this like incredible individual player who can clutch so many rounds for them. Thus far, they haven't needed it. And you know what, Mitch? I think they are going to go back to this same sort of pressure once again. And it is going to be onto Kellogg's. Potentially deny them. But this seems like a fake. They put in the boombot. They've also put in the owl drone. A lot of information garnered. But they're still waiting in mid just to see if anybody reacts from G2.
I really like this from Guild. I think waiting for these kind of pushes, and this is what I talk about when I say, like, it's not easy for G2 to make that counter because it's been so different in every single round from Guild. They are changing things up. And now they're going to go for a similar enough play in terms of the mid and garage pressure, but this is actually centered around Bonker. They're not looking to push the C or the B site right now. What they want is for Bonker to be able to catch a player off guard. And as they push up, and especially when they see that trap wire and no players, this is where they start to think that the A side is completely clear and where the opening is then there for Bonker to catch them off, but he's not going towards spawn. He's going towards the A site. These players, they're causing a distraction in middle, and as they go back, that's when Kellogg's is able to find the kill. Bonker might have a huge flank on B, but they cannot lose the spike!
Oh.
The spike just peeks him! I mean, that's the round done.
Yeah,
Why?
Guilds this time getting a little bit stuck in the mud. I think as well, it might just be down to timing, but it was the adaptation back from G2. So again, they've started to try and take back some of this early A aggression. And this time, Kellogg's basically just dominates. I almost wonder if we saw Bonker just turn around. I think maybe they actually win that round. He manages to pincer out the player because I don't think there's any idea from Kellogg's that there was already somebody behind him.
Well, that was exactly what I thought was going to happen. That's why I thought they left Bonker there when he started to go behind B. I'm thinking, okay, well, they're going to shift their focus to the B site then. But instead, he is trying to flank out the reinforcements on A before they've dealt with the main reason they lost the other round. That was a nice little shot by Yassine. It's one kill in a round where they were shy of a couple of weapons. So that's a free upgrade for him that he's going to be more than happy to take.
And again, they slow it down. They're going to make sure that they clear the angles in towards short as well. Draken just going to look to escape from this one, realizing that, okay, I don't really need to take any risks now. We've got ourselves an advantage. In fact, that pistol is basically just the bonus player that they can almost look to throw away at times. For Kellogg's, again, I feel like he's been the game changer. The 2 rounds that they've won have been based off him reclaiming and re-aggressing in terms of map control. And they've done the same again. They've locked out in terms of the A site because they've got a push-up all the way from Mixwell. So they can start to actually rotate players around to take back some of the control they've had to give up.
Yeah, the problem here is the A control for Guild, and they're not addressing it.
No.
Trying to take it to the other side of the map to find a solution. But Kellogg's is here and now, ready to get some damage done, but he doesn't even get that shot. Draken, quicker on the aim, takes the head clean off, and even follows up with more. That flash was good, sure, but the spike is planted, and now they know where Coldamenta is. Double swinging and leaving Mixwell in a 1v3. Doesn't know that Safe is on his way up behind. That was a 1v1 offered up, but it didn't go their way. And so Guild pick up that 8th round. Now things become a bit difficult for G2. With Guild showing the willingness to play into Garage and C site, I think G2 again need to switch up how they're defending this. And having Kellogg's towards the A site for that early aggression won't really be possible if they want to address it more so towards the middle and C areas.
Yeah, I think the other thing that becomes almost really difficult is the second that Guild get an opener. I think that's where it just becomes too much for G2 to actually dominate everything. Like, you see them take the aggression, but they can't then gamble as many players in the other direction as they did before. And you're going to see the flash actually come through, but it doesn't really work out. It's blinded Kellogg's instead.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if he would have hit the shot. Otherwise, here comes the showstopper, Yassine.
Oh.
He's going to get one! Let's go, Yassine! Now looking... 2 out of 7 have gone okay. It's not bad. The other 5 instantly died, but hey, he's got it done. Kellogg's on the spams. Looks like he's shooting a lot without seeing anybody, but no success. What a shot that would have been if it connected, but no one below Evan. In fact, this is quite a passive setup from Guild. They just have a crossfire that they're happy to play. 2 players on site working with the cam and their flank being watched. There's a tripwire there, so they know that nobody can get through, but they double check by having Draken close in case there's an Omen shadow step across. Everything about this is pretty perfect from Guild, and G2 make the wise choice of not pushing into it. With only 1 round left after this, they would much rather have their weapons and especially their double operators.
Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed the pace changes coming in from Guild. It's made things so difficult for G2. Like, they've wanted to try and take A control away from them in a couple of rounds, but it's very difficult to do if someone just comes blasting straight through smokes with a blast pack. So it just is how dynamic that they're being on this attack that G2 haven't really been able to respond to. And, well, we're looking at a 9-2 half. Like, this is, again, going almost all the way back to the first map. We were expecting this one to be close. I think both predictions were, what, like a 13-9, a 13-11 from the desk? And I'm not even going to, like, harp on them for that. I completely agree. I was expecting this to be a ridiculously close one. Maybe a couple of rounds in it, maybe even an overtime with how both of these teams have been playing on this map. Right now, Guild are just playing perfectly.
Look at this execute. Okay, you seen ends up getting stunned a little bit, but the idea of the utility placement is so perfect. He's even going to spam this. Oh, but Evolva that manages to dodge the bullets somehow, and there's the kill, leaving Mixwell still alive, able to take Drake. And perfect stuff on that hold, but they need to do a little bit more. Lockdown going to be put into effect. 9 seconds left on it, more than enough time to get that plant in. Although a bunker can just about make it out. Actually, if he runs knife out, he'll make it. It won't get detained. Well, that was brave, I guess.
Oh, they're trying to hold the line, but yeah, the wall's down. I don't know how they're going to get past this one. Just going to stick it and defuse it, and well, they're not going to be able to deny it. They get all of the kills in the end, but it doesn't really matter. G2 take their third round, at least give themselves somewhat of a lifeline, Mitch. But again, it is a bleak look for G2 in this third map.
Oh, it definitely is. Yeah, with 3 rounds on the board, we talk about Haven being, I think a lot of the time you'll look at a relatively even playing field when it comes to Haven. The defense is probably at a little bit of a disadvantage. Maybe you get like your 5 rounds on the board, and considering the pistol, obviously it was Guild picked up the pistol, right? They did. Yeah, they did. So at that point, if it was like a 7, maybe 8 on the board for Guild, it would be a little bit more doable. But right now, without a pistol under their belts, this again becomes such an uphill battle that it seems virtually impossible.
Now, where to set up shop?
There.
Well, let's see if G2 can grasp onto life. There's no doubt that, again, that they have a solid attack side, but this man leading the charge, and considering he was, as said, almost the glimmer of hope in that first half, he's almost going to play it like we see Scream, just working around the smokes, getting incredibly aggressive, and he's going to grant them control of the B site with Evolva already catching a man on the rotation. An incredibly strong start for G2 in this pistol round, and unless there's a couple of quick kills, I don't see a way back in, but never mind, Mitch. 2 kills almost instantly for Guild as they swing back in the pistol.
Well, those quick kills came in. Let's see what else they can get done. Drake trying to come up and catch one, but he loses a lot of health in the meantime. That's G2 picking it up and making sure that this can still be a competitive map. They've won the pistol, and that gives them a little bit of a leg up to get right back into this half. I'm still very worried, though, when I look at Guild, because their pistols have also been pretty damn good. And when it comes down to playing with Sheriffs, well, we saw that it's not always as free as you'd like.
It doesn't look like they're going to put that much in. And there's still a few seconds for the purchases to come up, but it seems like maybe only Draken going to get himself Sheriff. So no Shiko, as it's being called, supposedly. You've seen, very aggressive. In fact, the full squad just looking to try and push all the way up A, challenging for that control, and it's not amazing, but 2 kills, that's all right.
Yeah, with Mixwell farming up a couple on the attack side, he's close enough to getting his lockdown online. I think he's 3 away, which isn't too shabby, but overall, yeah, good round from Guild. They'll be happy with the result. Now they get to invest in and challenge G2 on the bonus. On Haven, it's kind of tough to make these Spectres work. Like, you're pretty much limited from going for A or C control unless you've got a rifle, which Kellogg's does have, but it's a Phantom. I imagine here they're going to be just fighting for orbs and holding control, waiting to see if G2 get over-aggressive. Waiting to see if Guild get over-aggressive, excuse me.
Doesn't look like it. They are rotating very quickly, though. The callers come in, the full squad already on the move, and by the looks of it, they might just be looking for a retake here. Kellogg's, though, spotted a glimpse. That's all it took. The boom bot through, and he tries to fight, but instead, it's Yassine to catch out to in response of over. Tries his best again. I feel like I'm getting deja vu to the spray down with the Spectre, but it is still Guild to find the round. Again, though, just as the last, 3 kills is not bad.
They could have won that, man. That wall is about to cause an argument. Look at this. Kellogg's had him, and then he just going up, up, up. Couldn't react to it in time. Nuki ended up dying to that as well. That is a basic mistake, and one that is definitely going to haunt them moving forward. But hey, 5 on the board for G2. Great damage done in a bonus round. This is overall a positive scenario, but they've got to get this round on the board. And that's the thing. I feel like G2 have built really good foundations a bunch of times. They've gotten themselves in a spot that...
Party's over.
Okay.
Check in PC. I think he got a glimpse of him just as the smoke bloomed. Small bit of timing issue there. That's a man advantage as he's seen down as well. He tends back towards the supportive role now, the emotional support.
Oh, it's going to be a full take of the A site. Every single member of this team, but there's not really any information. Bonker, this would be impressive. We've talked about the Bulldog and its comeback, and he'll find one for his troubles. This kill could be everything, though. This gives Leo some space, and we haven't needed his hero plays thus far, but this would definitely be one of them. He's caught, though, completely blinded by the paranoia. But a 2v2 scenario, not the worst case for Guild.
No, it's not. Guild can definitely get this one done. On the way back in. Evolva with ulti in hand. I do wonder, like, does he use it for information here? But they've heard the steps. I think at this point they know there's 2 players from the spawn side ready for a heaven peek. Camera gets destroyed, but I think it will have fed the information in the meantime. Paranoia goes out. Nuki with the swing and the spray transfer. Beautiful stuff. 6 on the board. G2, they're back in the game. They're hot on Guild's heels, and this should be an eco coming out of Guild.
Yeah, they were already on shaky ground in the last with a Bulldog and a few missing pieces. Leo definitely did his best to drag this one back. You just think he gets that flash out maybe a second earlier, and you know what? I see him getting away with that one, genuinely. It definitely seems like the scenario that he would have managed to survive. Again, though, you still have to be wary. Look how many ultimates are either online or very close for Guild. A showstopper, okay, it doesn't have the best odds in terms of what we've seen. This is bold, though, from Yassine. He's just gone running through. They're doing the same again. They're just grouping up as a unit, all trying to take this through. Kellogg's, though, might just try and farm this one up as he goes in all on his own. Some eco frags to pad those stats and put those knives to good use.
Yes, indeedy. Going in for a little bit more as well, as the site is going to be overrun. Bonker will try to drop a player, but can't get it done. And the only tiny shame is that it was Kellogg's getting the kills. Obviously, having popped his blade, Stormy's getting the value for it, but
no more.
Nukia, he could have used a few ult points, could have used a few eco frags of his own. They are very valuable in this game, but often it's not worth risking. You know, if Kellogg's doesn't take those kills and lets Nukia try to take the fight, and he dies, well, then it wasn't worth it at all, so.
Yeah, I suppose also, what's the point in the Blade Storm if he's not going to kill anyone with it?
Not going to use it. Exactly. It's just one of those, like, I want to paint some sort of negativity because G2 got away with such a nice, clean round. Draken just going into the spike at the end, purely because, if you don't know at home, like, he won't get as much money if he survives the round, and he hasn't got anything that's worth saving.
Yeah, and as well, if you die to the spike, you don't give anything over to the other side. You're not, like, boosting even that small amount of economy, or more importantly, you're not giving away any ultimate points. And as you mentioned, for someone like Nuki at the moment, that would actually be a pretty big deal. Get him ever closer to that res. Everything else, though, it's pretty much online, so I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of set piece coming out from G2. The scarier prospect, though, is there's 4 ultimates available for Guild, and with how close they are to taking the victory here, a round at this stage could be massive. How is he so good with the paint shells, but it just doesn't work at all with the showstopper? I don't understand.
You'd imagine it would be a transferable skill, right? But I mean, it's normally very good with the showstopper. It's not. I'm lying about it, but today things are just not going according to plan. G2, weapons in hand, same as Guild, 10-7, 3 rounds between them. This is pretty much the turning point of the game. If G2 win this, neck and neck, pretty much, especially with the defender side disadvantage. Safe has a damn good start at it. Okay, he ends up getting blinded up a little bit and taken down on the way back.
I've got your
Oh, that's a
trail.
disaster. And here goes the ultimate as well. Seeker's going out. They only see one player, and they know that's the guy in garage. So the C side is now open. They're going to just rush it down. Smoke in for the spawn. This completely isolates Avova. He needs a teammate to make it into him pretty quickly. But as they're rotating, they're being spotted by Coldamenta, who's harassing them, flashing them, and keeping them back. The site is theirs. Rolling Thunder will stop the plant. They need to get some goals. Oh, some kills afterwards. And Yassine just comes in big, leaving Avova to 1 versus 3 this. He has his ult and goes to the A site, but now this is still a very, very tough one to win if Guild do group up and play this together. He needs to find 1v1s, and now he's been spotted.
Shadows traveling.
Yeah, this is going to make things very tough. The drop down will be heard. The spam actually not connecting as much as maybe they'd like, but Leo will get things over the line. Well, critique the showstopper, and it couldn't have done more in this round. 2 kills, the Rolling Thunder combined with it. I said at the beginning of the round, like, there was so many ultimates available in this one for Guild that you almost feel like they can almost just brute force it. Like, okay, we'll just make sure that this is a victory, get ourselves to that 11th, put ourselves in a better position in terms of economy. But it was still fairly close. Like, sure, it comes down to a few players surviving, but I think without those ultimates, that's probably a G2 round.
I think that's fair to say. Yeah, it was a bit of a turning point when the Rolling Thunder, followed by a showstopper, comes in for 2 kills, plus a quick frag up on tunnel as well. Save the day, but that's what the ultis are for, and that's what managing your ult economy is all about. Over on the G2 side, when you take a look at what they've got to work with here, I'm really curious when we're going to see lockdown come into effect.
Oh, he's going through.
Wow.
You just know Kellogg's W key. I think it gets stuck quite regularly.
Mixwell's in spawn.
Yes. He's actually moving as well. So
Yeah, no,
I
he
think that
hasn't
they're
been
just trying to
AFK.
catch off the A-long player. Like, they were expecting somebody to push him from behind, maybe to try and deny him. He's going to have a very late flank. The flash is good, but Avova's timing is even better. Now Saves comes in on the flank, but there is a flank on his flank. There's no way they're going to be expecting Mixwell to be here, but he's almost null and void. His teammates have won the round without him. Guys, I'm here. Hey, guys, I've got my flanks in.
Been asking what was Mixwell, when's he going to be putting down the lockdown, but he had himself in self-isolation. He was just chilling in the spawn. I think he did have a little bit of a tussle with the guys that came up from A, because they pushed up through A lobby and then went all the way back and tried to split in from A con into B. So I guess maybe he fired off a few bullets, and then they ended up you know, he was paranoid that these guys are about to push him. Ended up staying there the whole round, but at least he wasn't needed. Kicking yourself, you lost because of that.
I'm sure in chat we saw why you still there? Why you in spawn?
Yeah.
The classic matchmaking chat.
Plant the spike.
Now, there's not much in this round for Guild. Just a few pistols here and there. Ultimates, I doubt, will be used, and well, straight away we're going to see all the trips on site be broken. There's a fast flank being attempted by Safe, but realistically, you can already see that it's being watched. They know that there's been some very aggressive pushes as a unit coming through from Guild, so they want to make sure that there's not going to be any surprises, and with the alarm bot still holding it, chances are slim for any cheeky plays coming out from Safe.
I like this little smoke down. That's going to keep him back for a moment. Kellogg's smokes his own position. Now G2... Okay, right. Well, I was going to say a little bit of pressure being applied, but they're trading back pretty quickly. They can force the long-range duels at this point, and the final flanker has no other choice. Safe does pull out a Phantom, but look at the time, man. It's just way too low at this point. They do swing him. They gave the opportunity, not the victory. 9 on the board. For a team that was down 9-3, like, they're not looking too bad here on the attack.
Yeah, for sure. Like, that was probably a little bit closer than they would have liked, especially considering the investment and they had a 5-on-5 after plant. But again, it's similarly to what we said in the last half. If Guild aren't winning any of these rounds, the economic damage somewhat becomes null and void. They're not getting them close to that reset. There's still Mixwell, for example, with 5,000 credits in the bank. Nuki will be able to buy as well. And that's considering that they actually lose. Now, there's been a drastic change in the form of Draken bringing out that operator. Now, we've seen many times before that this has been a game changer for him individually. And he's just using it to try and lock down A. But that hasn't been one of the key pressure points, at least in the initial stages of the round. This time, though, it looks like he might have some company.
Yeah, some late contact coming his way for sure. Seekers go out, but he's still comfortable holding the angle.
Oh,
the
okay.
shot does not land. Coldamenta able to take that, and lockdown is going to deter any sort of re-aggression on this position. They've got the site, they've got the plant, pretty much for free.
Yeah, interesting. They could have destroyed it as well. And in fact, it looks like they're going to try and use it just to deny the plant. Bonker saving it, and Avova has actually managed to dodge that one completely. And Leo, maybe a little bit early on the peak, already going to be caught off. This looking a bit rough, but Yassine has managed to find one. He's turning it back into a 3v4.
Yeah, delaying the plant by quite a bit on that. Bought them some time, but time doesn't really matter when you got no players left to defuse. Mixwell makes sure that the final guild members are dispatched, and now just one behind. This is getting incredibly tight, and guild haven't gotten off the starting point really. Like, they had a few rounds here and there, but for the most part, this is a dominant half from G2 to equalize it back up. I need to see something different, and the operator, obviously not the savior that they hoped it to be. Now on pistols, it's likely to be equalized.
This has been surprising. Both teams on the attack, winning streaks of rounds, and no matter how close they get, it seems like the streak keeps on going. Again, we're going to see these adaptations. The fast they take last time, this time it's the push into garage. Both teams have had consistent changes on their attack side, calling something we almost missed in the old iterations of G2. Now, with the set leader looking like they can make these quick change-ups, and with Kellogg's taking so much control, it makes sense that they're going to back up into B, not expecting him to go straight through his own smoke. It's a bit risky, though. He loses his life here, and, well, actually, Guild could have a man advantage and a gun.
Another gun, exactly. This is a bit of a problem, but for now. They've isolated one guy in towards the spawn. Kellogg's could, in theory, go back and safely make it to the B site, but instead he furthers the challenge and gives a weapon away. It doesn't look like this is going to be doable, especially not with Draken on 1 HP. But they're cutting it close over on the G2 side.
So he's still trying to at least make this one costly. The chances of victory slim, but he still manages to make things very awkward for the remaining players, and Drakenwall has nothing left to lose. Will try and take one down, but safe dies to the spike. That's going to be a little frustrating, and in fact, Leo's just gone. He just got up and left.
Just lagged it.
Here.
Guess we're going to have a pause.
Technical bathroom break?
Biological pause coming in.
Either that or he is lightning fast. In which case, I don't know. That might, maybe he's just got a very close bathroom. Now we are going to have a tactical P coming in. Pause, of course, that stands for anyone at home.
Yeah, the tactical P from Leo. 11-11. I mean, look, regardless of potty time or not, it is definitely a time.
What
to
are they
call
discussing
these
here,
timeouts.
Mitch? You know, they've taken this tactical pause. Like, what do you think that they're talking about in this moment with obviously such a crucial moment of the game?
I'd say Yassine's turning to safe and saying that Leo guy's taking the piss, isn't he?
Oh god. Do we go with strat number 1 or strat number 2?
But take a look at what Guild have to work with. Three ults, only one that they can really intentionally use a lot of the time. It's going to be the Rolling Thunder. On the other side, Rez, Bladestorm online. This is going to be a really, really rough round for both teams. Like, the pressure is on right now. To win this 2 in a row, or we're going to be hitting an OT. And on Haven, I mean, we love a good OT on Haven, don't we, Tom?
Cut their walls
I hate
down.
this map.
Of course. Of course.
It's my least favorite map, but we always get the OTs on it, you know?
Get out of my way.
Here we go. The pace change once again. It's just going to be deep control. Clearing all of the angles, of course, taking their time, using their utility. There's already 3 players here from Guild. They've gone for a fast rotation, and the Owl Drone is already going to spot out Kellogg's. Now, we know how dangerous he can be in this scenario. In fact, they're even going to tag him again. 2 for 1. They know he's here, but does that actually make much of a difference? Clearing him could be difficult. Draken will kick things off, but he's been tagged low, and the res is available for G2 to bring back Cold Eventer with a vengeance.
But here it is, the Paranoia primed and ready to pop on. Out, safe, gets taken down. Bunker trying his best on the backside, but he's being pushed from every angle.
No.
And Coldamenta takes him down very quickly indeed. There is a Rolling Thunder, as we said earlier. The question is, do you use it now or hold it for overtime? And Leo, he's got a pretty tough decision on his hands. Getting by these players will be tough, and I think he's realized that it's not worth committing to it. Use the Rolling Thunder now. You probably... Oh, maybe now you could. It's into a 1 versus 2. It's Yassine as well. If anyone can make it happen, this guy can. 8 bullets in a blast pack. Gonna blast pack over the wall. Blast pack the wall, excuse me. Open up a little bit of a gap, but no kill for him. 12 to 11 we go. Now there's a little bit more to work with for Guild. They've got a showstopper, and they've got a Rolling Thunder. That has already changed the course of a round in favor of Guild before. We're going to need to see it again, potentially.
Weapon here.
Who was it who said 13-11? That was Lothar, right? But he predicted Guild. That would have been incredible if he managed to get that bang on, especially after that first half. I don't think anybody thought this was going that way after what was 9-3 domination for Guild. They've managed just 2 rounds in the second half, and one of them was their buy up against a bonus. Other than that, it has been a rough position to be in. They need to try and cling on. The buy is not perfect, and again, the pace straight into this site. Kellogg's just looking to try and dominate, but he's going to be isolated. The counter utility, though, is making things very awkward. They haven't been able to close him out. Finally, Safe will put him down, but the rest of G2, well, they've left.
Rolling Thunder, and it gets countered by a flash. Really good play by Coldamenta, thinking on his feet, flashing backside. Seekers were out to slow them down as well in near sight. It's really good stuff. At 12 to 11, G2 have the man disadvantage. They're looking to shift their focus towards that A site by the looks of things. A little bit of mid control going their way as well. The time is starting to really run down here. 40 seconds. And they've yet to get any control over short and long. Now spotted out as well. That's a real spanner in the works.
It might not normally be the most impactful ultimate in the world, but this allows them to gamble an extra rotation away. It's going to be done as well by Avova. Catching that player in spawn. There's still 2 players here. I'm looking at that showstopper, Mitch. It could be absolutely everything. Almost just trying to catch someone as they move into the site. That's exactly what we see Yassine will do. And he gets out of there. The attackers, they're going to use themselves the lockdown. It will garner them control at least for now, but Guild are more than happy to wait for the retake.
Cup playing into the retake with the man advantage. Again, we've said this before. They just need to work off each other. Look at the utility G2 have to play with. I know what you're thinking. What utility? They don't have any. It's all down to gunfights and crossfires, and they haven't got any crossfires to work with. Individuals need to show up, and Mixwell cannot get it done this time around. Safe with a huge retake on his hands and an overtime for his team. Guild hang on after a 9-3 half. A dominant victory for Guild to start out this map. They've ended up in overtime.
Switching
That
sides.
cannot feel good.
Overtime.
For either team, really.
Yeah, it's super weird because I'm not surprised by overtime. I'm surprised by the manner of overtime. Like both of these teams having incredibly dominant attack sides, and then on the defense just not being able to get anything done. Especially, well, I guess I want to look at G2 because I think that like a lot of the time I wanted to give them credit versus I think it was FPX yesterday where they had such a strong defense when it came to holding on to C. Then this time it almost looked like Guild just avoided that, but they didn't have the adaptation adaptations other than Kellogg's getting aggressive. Now, on the other side of things, Kellogg's getting aggressive was actually one of the pinnacle plays in the second half. Him being able to get so much space and dominate in those opening kills once again. Now, this time, it is looking like Guild are taking a leaf, well, out of their old strat book. The A-site take, it's been so good for both teams, and they're going to be attempting it again.
The nade for backside doesn't deter Kellogg's. Just stands in it, takes the damage because he knows the kill is going to go his way. Dashing out right after.
He's been double tagged.
Re-peeks it, tagged up by everything on the planet. And now he's back up to full health, sitting outside that site. G2 content to play the retake. Safe has managed to tuck himself up close. Something tells me they're going to check this as they go on through. Safe's going to have to be quick. A bunch of defenders, they're not checking it.
No.
The trigger discipline not there, but hey, you'll take it. That's a kill. And another for Safe. He's even going wide for 3. And the old pop for the information. They know there's one behind. Well, at the cost of Safe's life, a rolling thunder, or sorry, an aftershock put out by Leo. Doesn't catch them, but still, he's able to get the double. 13-12 we go. Guild get away with that round, and that's Safe. That's Safe's round right there. You give him that one moment, he shines, and 23 kills on the board. It's been a damn good map for him so far.
Oh, yeah. He's had a good performance. This makes it into a great one. Everything that came before was forgotten, and he pulls off the biggest 3K of the map so far, holding in a position that, as you said, it's one you normally check, but also, even if you don't, to get 3 kills from there, I would almost call that a joke. Like, he shouldn't be able to get away with that much. He shouldn't be able to clear off that many players, especially with the repeak at the end. But that's why it's a huge play for Guild. And that could be the difference maker. The thing I will say, though, is, again, both teams have shown some real strength on the attack. It has been a game of attacking halves. So G2 going on to this, sure, they're going to take a pause. They're going to calm themselves down a little bit here. But it is not like they cannot get this round over the line.
So the loser of this series goes away with obviously their spot in the EMEA Challengers playoffs. That is guaranteed. FPX are in, and so are Guild, G2, and Ascend. But the loser will get 6,000 euro in prize money for this stage. The winner will go on to face Ascend and get either 10,000 or 15,000. It'd be nearly triple the amount of cash, 2.5 times the Wonga you're walking away with if you can manage to win this series and then beat Ascend. That's pretty huge if you think about it, considering it's just 2 BO5s.
I think as well, the other thing that needs to be considered is with the fact that now going into the like playoff stage or the challengers like EMEA stage, there's a few more teams than last time. So getting a higher seed could actually make a fair bit of difference, because you're not just looking at like a solo CIS squad. Maybe you face the second one. Maybe you face the second Turkish team or some of the later qualifiers. Now, sure, maybe if that later qualifier ends up being Fnatic, it might not be as kind as you might think. But it still could make a difference avoiding of some of the top teams that we have going through. Like, for example, a Gambit. I'm going to be honest. The last time we saw them, they were fierce. This time, I'm sure they're going to be even better with being able to fix any of the mistakes, any of the problems that they had. So, although like seeding is never really spoken about as like the be-all and end-all, I don't think FPX are going to be crying too many tears about going through in 4th. It's still something to bear in mind if they can get, well, the dub here or even the dub over Ascend, who are looking unstoppable right now.
Yeah, and remember, like, in Turkey, Oxygen are looking incredibly good as well. It's another team you just want to stay away from. Them and Gambit, and I mean, these teams in particular, Guild already have some experience with Oxygen. I doubt they want to be facing off against them first time around, so seed definitely does matter when it comes to the merging of regions.
Here.
Well, if Guild can win this, they'll be just one map away from closing it out and putting themselves at least in second place, securing an extra $4,000, maybe a little bit more. Going to be a very slow round from G2, uncharacteristically. They've given up a lot of control, moving primarily into this A side. In fact, I think Mix, yeah, he's pulled his turret back, so they have nothing for mid or C long. They need to go fast, and Bonker quickly shuts Kellogg's down, near-sighted, but Kellogg's landed right next to him. Oh,
the snapback was sick, and he's already managed to get himself a second. He's looking to try and drag his team through, kicking and screaming, playing through the cage. He's going to catch Mitch's third of the round, and Guild have managed to close it out, Mitch. It was an impressive comeback from G2, coming back from the depths in this map, but they are going to still end up falling at the